Good morning, Santa Barbara. Good morning, Iloilo. Good morning, Philippines. Welcome to this PREBID conference. Armed with confidence, coupled with your hard work, I am quite sure you will succeed. Let us pray. Almighty Father, you are our creator and our sustainer. You are our light and our fortress. You are our wisdom and our strength. We ask for your guiding hand to lead us through this PREBID conference, and may we approach our task with wisdom, and may we approach our members with respect. May our conduct create an environment of cooperation and kindness. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work this day. We ask these things in your powerful name. Amen. Okay, for our attendance, we have with us this morning our back Vice Chairperson in the person of Engineer Eva S. Bidonia. We have our back regular member, Engineer Gemma H. Tamagos. We have also with us this morning our end user for civil works, Engineer Madonna May Sadaba. And yours truly, Debbie Amper, as a back secretariat member. And for our PREBID conference proper, may I now call on our back Vice Chairperson, Engineer Eva S. Bidonia.
Good morning once again. Since the members of Bids and Awards Committee are on quorum, I declare this PREBID conference for civil works in order. And we have 7 contract ID for this PREBID conference. For the first contract ID, we have 24GI0019, construction of Aganan flood control structure, Jaro-Aganan River, Barangay 15, and Barangay Santa Cruz, San Miguel, Iloilo, located at San Miguel, Iloilo, with the funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program or Early Procurement Activity, with approved budget for the contract of 86,850,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of reinforced concrete flood control, with 301 calendar days for the contract duration. For the next contract, we have contract ID 24GI0020, construction of Aganan flood control structure, Jaro-Aganan River, Barangay Poblacion, going to Subana, Alimodian, Iloilo, located at Alimodian, Iloilo, with the funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program or Early Procurement Activity, with approved budget for the contract of 86,850,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of reinforced concrete flood control with 201 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0021, construction of Aganan flood control structure, Jaro-Aganan River, Barangay Bagumbayan, Alimodian, Iloilo, located at Alimodian, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program or Early Procurement Activity, with approved budget for the contract of 66,695,010 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of reinforced concrete flood control, with 262 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0023, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Bilidan, New Lucena, Iloilo, located at New Lucena, Iloilo, with the funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program, Early Procurement Activity, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of work, construction of 2-story multipurpose building as per plan and specification, with 71 calendar days for the contract duration. For the next contract, we have contract ID 24GI0024, construction of multipurpose building, Gymnasium, Pavia, Iloilo, located at Pavia, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program early procurement activity with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, gym, with 16.0 meter by 25.0 meter dimension as per plan and specification with 158 calendar days for the contract duration. For the contract ID 24GI0025, construction of road slope protection structure, Mandurriao to San Miguel to Miguel-Alimodian-Maasin-Cabatuan Road, kilometer 21 plus 480 to kilometer 21 plus 527, located at Alimodian, Iloilo, with the funding source of FY 2024 National Expenditure Program early procurement activity with approved budget for the contract of 2,254,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of road slope protection structure, reinforced retaining wall, with 58 calendar days for the contract duration. And for the last contract, we have contract ID 24GI0026, construction of road slope protection structure, Mandurriao-San Miguel to Maasin-Cabatuan Road, kilometer 28 plus 665 to kilometer 28 plus 721, located at Alimodian, Iloilo. For funding source, FY 2024 National Expenditure Program, early procurement activity with approved budget for the contract of 1,960,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of road slope protection structure, reinforced retaining wall, with 53 calendar days for the contract duration. For eligibility requirements, we have for Class A documents, we have legal documents, technical documents, and financial documents. And for Class B documents, this is for joint venture. Under the Class A documents, this is a legal documents registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship or cooperative, Development Authority for cooperatives, Mayor's permit or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. And the last one is the tax clearance for EO 398, series of 2005, as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For under the technical documents, we have the valid pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint venture, and registration for the type and cost of the contract to be bid. For contract ID 24GI0019, 24GI0020, 24GI0021, the license category is B, kind of project is GE-2, this is for irrigation or flood control, and the size range is medium A. For contract ID 24GI0023 and 24GI0024, the license category is C and D, and the kind of project is GB-1. This is for buildings or industrial plant, and the size range is small b. For contract ID 24GI0025 and 24GI0026, the license category is C and D. Kind of project is GE-2. This is for irrigation or flood control, and the size range is small b. Another is the statement of the bidder of all ongoing government and private contracts, including awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Another is the statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid, adjusted to current prices using Philippine Statistic Authority consumer price indices, and must be at least 50% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid. That is provided, however, that contractors under small a and small b categories without similar experience on the contract to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable range of contract cost of their registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PCAP. Another is the contract shall be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has the following categories. For contract ID 24GI0019, 24GI0020, and 24GI0021, the major category of works is flood control, construction, slope protection using structural measures such as revetment, retaining structures, or wire net. The similar categories of work for roads construction, slope protection using structural measures such as revetment, retaining structures, wire net. For flood control, hydraulics, river control. For ports and harbors, causeway. And for flood control, hydraulics or dam. For contract ID 24GI0023, 24GI0024, the major category works for buildings construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame from 1 to 5 stories, and similar categories of work are the following. Building construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Building construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Building construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, driven piles. Building construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame, driven piles. Building construction without piles, high-rise concrete frame. Building industrial plant, low-rise. Building industrial plant, high-rise, and building industrial plant, medium-rise. For contract ID 24GI0025, 24GI0026, major category of works, roads construction, slope protection, using structural measures, such as using structural revetment, retaining structures, and wire net. The similar categories of work for flood control, construction, slope protection, using structural measures, for flood control, hydraulics, river control. For financial documents, we have the following. The bidder's audited financial statements showing, among others, bidder's total and current assets and liabilities stamped received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institution for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. The bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity must be at least equal to the approved budget for the contract, computed using the prescribed formula. NFCC is equal to the current assets minus current liabilities times 15, minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portion of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR. For Class B documents, this is for joint venture. Valid joint venture agreement in accordance with the RA 4566 and its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit the respective project certificates of registration in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of this IRR. The submission of the technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitutes compliance, provided that the partners responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all of its ongoing contracts and audited financial statements. Submission of receipts of bids. Submission under these documents, we have the first envelope, technical proposal. The second envelope is financial proposal. One original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid. Please take note that prior to the sale of bidding documents, only the following documents are required from the prospective bidders, to wit:
One, company ID or any government-issued ID. Another, authorization letter, if not authorized liaison officer in the CWA, such as special power of attorney for sole proprietorship or board, partnership, joint venture resolution with secretary certificate for corporation, partnership, joint venture, and cooperative. The contents of the first envelope. This is a technical proposal. First, valid and updated certificate of Chief's registration under Platinum membership in compliance to GPPB Resolution 15-2021 dated October 14, 2021, issued in accordance with the amended section 8.5.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Another, pickup license and registration, special pickup license if joint venture. Statement of all ongoing and private contracts, statement of single largest completed contract, NFCC computation, and joint venture agreement if applicable. Another, original copy of bid security in the prescribed form, amount, and validity period. If in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by insurance company or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. For bid validity period, we have 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. The bid security validity period is also 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. The form of bid security and the amounts of bid security not less than the required percentage of the approved budget for the contract. For cash or cashier's manager's check issued by Universal Commercial Bank, we have 2% of the approved budget for the contract. The bankrupt guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by Universal Commercial Bank, 2% of the approved budget for the contract. And the surety bond callable on demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security is 5% of the approved budget for the contract. For the project requirements, which shall include the following. First, organizational chart for the contract to be bid. Another, list of contractors' personnel, the project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foreman to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. Another is the list of contractors' major equipment units which are owned, leased, and or under purchase agreement, supported by a proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor for the duration of the project as the case may be. And the last is the original duly signed omnibus statement and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the OSS and 2 acts to represent the bidder. And the contents of the second envelope, which is the financial proposal, are the following. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form in accordance with the form prescribed in Section 10, bidding forms of bidding documents. Original of duly signed bid prices and the bill of quantities. Duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. And the last is the cash flow by quarter.
Let's proceed to bid evaluation. The financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The BAC shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. First, we have completeness of the bid. Under this, we have bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including the BOQ, shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. No price in required item shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified, indicating a zero or a dash free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Next is arithmetical corrections. Under this, we have bid prices in figures versus words. Words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price per item as extended or multiplied by the quantity of the item, unit price prevails. Total price versus actual sum of component items, actual sum prevails. Unit cost in detailed estimate versus unit cost in BOQ, BOQ prevails. Total calculated bid prices as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications which exceed the ABC shall be disqualified.
For post-qualification, the post-qualification shall verify, validate, and ascertain the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all the Class A eligibility documents supporting the PhilJEP's Certificate of Registration and Membership in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of Revised IRR of RA 9184, and all the other statements made and documents submitted by the bidder using non-discretionary criteria. These criteria shall consider but shall not be limited to the following: legal requirements to verify, validate, and ascertain licenses, certificates, permits, and agreements submitted by the bidder, and the fact that it is not included in any blacklist as provided in Section 25.3 of Revised IRR of RA 9184. For technical requirements, verification and validation of the bidder's stated competence and experience, and the competence and experience of the bidder's key personnel to be assigned to the project. Verification and availability and commitment and/or inspection and testing for the required capacity and operating conditions of equipment units to be owned, leased, under purchase by the bidder for use in the contract under bidding. Failure of the prospective bidder to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award of contract and forfeiture of its bid security per Department Order Number 58 Series of 2012. Checking the performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts, if any of these ongoing contracts shows negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works and complete ongoing contracts in the prescribed date after the receipt of the notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificates of acceptance in the prescribed date after the receipt of the notice and defects of failures. Substandard quality of works or unsatisfactory performance per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection. Department Order Number 127 Series of 2018, strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. Note, if the BAC verifies any of these deficiencies, to be due to the contractor's fault or negligence, the agency shall disqualify the contractor from the award. Ascertainment of the authenticity of the bid security and its correctness as to type, amount, form and wording, and validity period as required in the bidding document. For financial requirements, to verify, validate, and ascertain the bid price proposal of the bidder, and whenever applicable, the required committed line of credit in the amounts specified and over the period stipulated in the bidding documents of the bidder's NFCC to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of the transaction. Notes on the personnel and equipment requirements of the project as per Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012, technical requirements for civil work projects for public bidding. If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and he or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office. The bidder may propose a key technical personnel who is not its employee, provided that the said personnel is required to submit a certification that he or she will work for the bidder if it is awarded the contract under bidding. This certification shall be included in the first envelope of the sealed bid. Also to be verified during post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidder should be specify in the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any equipment is not in the specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. For the list of key personnel and key equipment units, you may refer to the posted bid documents. The proof of ownership of the equipment requirements are copies of current LTO official receipt and certificate of registration of the equipment, which should be attached together with the affidavit of ownership. If case of lease equipment, a lease contract and affidavit of commitment should be submitted with the lessor or owner as the pledger of the equipment, stating therein that the equipment will be available for the whole duration of the project. For purchase agreement, the description of the equipment to be purchased, such as brand, model, type of equipment, motor number, body number, and the capacity must be indicated in the document. Otherwise, the BAC will not honor the purchase agreement and the bidder will be declared as non-complying. Likewise, these contractors' major equipment units pledged to be used for the project must be supported by proof of ownership if it is owned, lease agreement if it is being leased, and purchase agreement if to be purchased. A certification of availability of equipment for the duration of the project must also be provided by the equipment owner and or lessor or vendor. Prospective bidders or contractors are likewise required for the inclusion of the minimum materials testing equipment in the technical component of the bid, in compliance with Department Order Number 11, Series of 2017, superseding Department Order Number 80, Series of 1990, and other issuances. All documents in support of the ownership of the equipment pledge and other documents photocopied from the original shall be legibly readable and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Corollary, Department Order Number 58, Series of 2012, dated August 29, 2012, further provides the inclusion of material data on the pledged equipment of the bidder by requiring all bidder or contractor to fully comply with the contract minimum equipment requirements as prescribed in the bid documents, a complete technical description of their pledged equipment, whether owned or leased, such as, but not limited to, engine number, year model, chassis number, plate number, production and load capacity, availability and operating condition, In addition, bidders were also required to state in their bid documents the particular place or site where the equipment are located as provided for under Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012. That failure to comply with the said requirements shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award and forfeiture of its bid security.
For contract awards, the contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid as a result of a detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award should be made within the bid validity period, and take note that subcontracting is not allowed. Here are the common reasons for rejection of bids, ineligibility, and post-disqualification of bidders. 1. Failure to submit the original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission indicating the name of project, the procuring entity, and name of contractor. Another one, shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Overlapping of pledged equipment and committed key technical personnel. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bid. Failure to submit the supporting documents such as certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project if the equipment pledge is to be leased or purchased. Negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project, or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contract, and unsatisfactory CEPES rating. Another common errors in submission of bids. Incomplete pages of bid, technical and financial documents. Authority of signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. Under that, we have the single proprietor. Signatory should be in the owner or proprietor only. Corporation or cooperative, board secretary certificate and board resolution, joint venture resolution or agreement, and for the partnership as indicated in the article of partnership. And for the schedule, deadline for submission of clarification and amendments is on December 11, 2023, addressed to Cynthia Z. Caigoy, Chairperson, Bids and Awards Committee, with the email address caigoy.cynthia@dpwh.gov.ph, or Elna P. Nepomuceno, Head Procurement Unit, with the email address nepomuceno.elna@dpwh.gov.ph. And the deadline for submission of bid is on December 19, 2023 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And number of copies of bid proposal, we have one original copy for the first technical and second financial envelope of each bid. And place of submission of bid is at the back office or procurement office at DPWH Iloilo 4th District Engineering Office. And to all prospective bidders, you may submit your bid either electronically or manually pursuant to Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020, and submit your queries, if any, until December 11, 2023, at least 10 days from the opening of bids. Okay, that's all for this morning activity. Our pre-bid conference for Civil Works adjourned at exactly 10:43 in the morning. Thank you and God bless us all.